I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts, yeah. During the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts, but they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out. And I don't understand. Roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. And I have my doubt that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. I have my doubts, so I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. We're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back up. Yes, I have my doubts. So we're all messed up and out of touch. Let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. Well, the things I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out.
Good evening, Watchmen and Watchwomen. I'm going to do my best for a monologue tonight. I'm going to begin by asking for prayers. I don't normally ask for anything from anyone. I just don't like to impose. But I need prayers. I need prayers for balance, and I need prayers for peace. I don't believe much in unspoken, prayer requests, because, really, could that even possibly work? I don't know. It might, but I don't believe in it. I need balance and peace. Bad. I I can handle a lot. These shoulders of mine, the 48 years I've been on this earth, I can handle a lot. I've talked a little bit here and there about my personal life, and the things that I've gone through, not seeing my children that you see in the intro video there. Haven't seen them since 2014. And yeah, that weighs on me real heavily. And, you know, I deal with this news stuff day in and day out. It doesn't stop. And I can handle that because, you know, I really hold dear to the Serenity Prayer, and I am pretty successful with it. But negativity has reached a level that I can't take anymore. And it's not negativity of the news, it's negativity of people. And I can't take it anymore. And I'm doing my absolute best to keep my cool. And I'm failing. I'm starting to fail. And I don't like that because for many reasons. For one, I gave up the anger monkey a long time ago. A long, long time ago. And I want to keep that locked in its box because it's not good. The largest part of my quote-unquote anger monkey I gave up when I was 19 years old. And I was able to do so using my oldest child as a reason, because I did not want him to see that. I did not want him to see, because my dad was an angry person, and I know how I felt when he would lose it and when he would get angry. And it just, the feeling, it made me want to crawl up in a ball in a corner and just not be seen or known or anything. I just didn't want to exist. And I don't mean in a not living kind of way. I just didn't want to be there. And so I caught myself one day when I was 19 years old, and I was very angry. I busted my knuckles working on brakes on my car, and I got extremely mad, punched the fender of my car, and this car was one of the nicest vehicles I had. It was a 76 Cougar, but it didn't have a dent or a ding in it, no scratches. The interior was, perfect. And here I got mad over busting my knuckles, and from there I proceeded to put my hand into the fender of the car and left a hell of a dent. And between seeing that dent and realizing that I had an infant son in the apartment upstairs, it dawned on me, I got to get a hold of this. And I did. It was like a light switch. And I've largely been able to stay on top of it throughout my life ever since. That's 29 years. I'm losing that grasp because of unneeded negativity. And I've got to get a handle on it, one way or another. So I'm just, again, I don't believe in unspoken prayers. So it's the only reason why I explain the situation. And please pray. Please pray, because I am losing it. I am losing that grip. So enough about me. Today, more interesting stuff in the news. Be very careful about narratives being played out. Today in Washington, D.C., near the Capitol building, there was a fire. And I'll tell you what, when the news reports very first came in, I was like, oh gosh, here we go. because they made it sound like it was the Capitol building itself. There was alarms and messages going off at the Capitol building. It sounded very serious. Well, it turned out to be a homeless camp that, caught fire near the Capitol. And I would venture to bet that was no accident. We have seen our government push homeless people away from different things time and time and time again. And I think that's what this was a case of. I think because the inauguration coming up and being a homeless camp nearby that area, I think that fire was purposely set to push away the homeless people because they don't want the visualization of that anywhere near the Capitol building while the event's going on. So that's saddening to me and frustrating to me because I'm one of those people that when there's a problem, we need to bring it out. We need to put it up front so we can look at it and so that we can deal with it. And homelessness is one of those problems in this nation. It's a rampant problem in this nation. And I get that largely D.C. is a cesspool, and I get that. But there's no excuse for allowing the homelessness to go on a level that it is, and it's only getting worse. It's only getting worse. And I don't mean to get off on a tangent about homelessness, but that is an issue that we have to deal with in this country. And one thing that highly frustrates me on homelessness is how many veterans are among those ranks. That really gets me. Because as I've said a million times, when it comes to veterans, people that willingly sign that dotted line, or even unwillingly for those that were drafted, man, they deserve the best. Here we got politicians up there with golden packages of every kind you could imagine that don't even do jack, right? They get some bill or something that comes in for them to vote on. They don't even read the thing. I bet you're fortunate if they even have an intern read it and give them the cliff notes. I bet many cases that doesn't even happen. And then they turn around and they vote on decisions that directly affect you, and they couldn't even take the time to read that bill before they voted on it. And that's very bothersome to me. Because when their term nears ending, they're going to be right out campaigning and acting like they care about you, and like they're really interested in what you think, what you have to say, and what you want. And then they go right back to DC, and it's the same old. And that's why we can't get nothing fixed in this country. Another reason associated directly with that is because we're hiring people, and when I'm saying hiring, actually it's electing. We're putting people in position that have no idea of the troubles because they've never been there. You can't expect somebody to fix a problem that doesn't understand the problem, that doesn't even understand the mechanisms behind the problem. You can't expect that. How many of us have worked at a job somewhere and wound up with some supervisor, some boss that has no clue about the job that you do each and every day, but yet they want to tell you how to do it better? Show of hands. I bet it's almost every one of us. And I dealt with that in and out throughout my life in different jobs, and it's insane, especially if you're some type of a machine operator, because I've done a lot of machine operations in my life, and it'd be amazing to have somebody that's never operated any type of machine like that ever in their life and come down from their nice office and tell me how I need to be doing something different to make it better or faster or whatever the case may be. And a lot of times, these these individuals might have a degree or something like that associated with the work you're doing. But what they don't understand is the work you're doing is being done on a 40, 50, 60-year-old machine that doesn't work like the textbook says. So, largely the same thing is happening in our government. We're expecting people to fix a problem that have no clue of the problem itself, or the root, or the cause, or what makes the problem worse. And that's what we're experiencing in our government. And that's why we really can't truly get things fixed, like homelessness. Because they're, looking from the outside in, trying to throw off all this, oh, well, it's because of addictions. It's because of mental issues. And I would agree that a lot of homeless people do have addictions and mental issues. My question is what came first, the chicken or the egg? What came first, the homelessness or the mental and drug and alcohol issues? Which one came first? Because I would venture to bet that when they entered that homeless state, that if they had a problem to begin with, that it's tenfold within a short time after they're homeless. And again, I don't mean to get on a tangent about homelessness, but when I saw that today, I'm no fool. When I saw that today, it was like so clear to me what was really going on there. And it bothered me. It really, truly bothered me, because it's not the first time that I've seen stuff like this happen. Not even close. Not even close. Other than that, as far as stuff around and about this whole inauguration thing, man, is this insane or what? I mean, it is mind-blowing. We have politicians now that are now asking that the fences and stuff that are around the Capitol building right now, that it be made a permanent fixture. Excuse me? I don't think so, Skipper. It's incredibly concerning, the lack of access that we have to these quote-unquote public hearings that we do now. No less a massive fence kept around. We need to back up on this whole process of government. We need to back up, because when this country was founded, every bit of that was intended to be transparent. Every bit of that was intended for us to be able to be there, present, in person. I watched a live stream, and I believe it was the state of, it was either Washington or Oregon. I can't remember for sure, to be honest. But Kelly Stewart was there. And Kelly Stewart does just an absolute incredible job. And she was there. And she was there voicing her concerns, because much like the U.S. Capitol, their state capitol was all fenced off, and it had National Guard and police and all that protecting the building. And they were voting on some very concerning things involving things that directly involved the Second Amendment and First Amendment. Yet the public wasn't allowed in. Now, here they had the place fenced off with National Guard and everything else, not allowing anybody in. But do you know what their claim was, why they weren't going to let anybody in? COVID. Because we all know, I mean, I knew this. Didn't you know this? That COVID-19, it can't go through a chain link fence. It can't. It can't. It can't. Somehow. It can't go through a chain link fence. It can't go through the doors at a Walmart. I don't get it. But yeah, it's apparently a fact. I'm waiting for the CDC to release it in a brochure or something. But yeah, their excuse as to why the public could not be in attendance was COVID-19. So the reaction was to put up chain link fencing with armed guards. And I'm laughing, and it's not funny. It's not funny. And this, I'm sure, is part of why I feel the way I do. Because I'm watching this happen. And I am literally seeing the death of our nation happen right in front of my eyes. And, there are people that are so willing to fight for the most useless causes. But yet the most important ones, they won't do anything other than share a Facebook meme. That's concerning. That's concerning. You'll have people that raise absolute hell because somebody kneeled during the national anthem. But they won't stand behind what that national anthem stands for. All they'll do is complain about somebody that kneeled for it. But they won't do anything about our elected representatives that are crapping all over it. Makes no sense to me. It does. There's a psychological reason behind it. I can't say it doesn't make sense to me. And what it is because people in today's society will not approach something that there's even a chance that they can't defeat. In other words, it's easy for them to win over hearts and minds, so to speak, when you're talking about somebody kneeling for the national anthem. And I'm just using this for an example. I'm not picking on it necessarily. But when you're going up against your elected representatives and something that they're trying to put in or whatever the case may be, well, that's a lot different. And there might actually be repercussions. See? And people don't want to give up they don't want to have the possibility of having to give anything up. And so that's why they don't try to tackle these larger, more important things. Well, I'll tell you what, the longer that we go on not attacking these, and when I say attack, I don't mean a physical attack, FBI. The longer we go on and we just pass off these more important things that are vital to our life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, these politicians are going to run with it, right? Since people like sports so much, imagine if the defense of a football team just opened wide open so that the other, the offending team, the offense, could just run right through, uninhibited. And that's what our politicians are largely doing right now. Let me tell you something. Writing your congressman, calling your congressman or women, no offense intended, does nothing. Does nothing. Nada. Nada. Sorry. That's just like the protest game. It is no different than the protest game. See, the left get out in the streets and protest, the right get on the phones and call. Neither are successful in their attempts because it was a game set up for you to lose. It was a game set up for you to lose. Well, guess what? I think people are figuring it out. And that's why you're seeing fences go up around your Capitol building. Make no mistake. I don't believe for a second that our government thinks that as a result of what happened at the Capitol in D.C., that it's really that Trump not getting reelected is really going to cause that same type of event to happen day in and day out at every state capitol. I'm not buying that for a second. What I do believe is that they have gotten away with for years trampling our rights, and that the people are tired of it, and they know that. And I know that right now they are getting ready to make this big, massive push to cross the T's and dot the I's of trampling on those rights. And I think many of them know what the reaction is going to be. So they're using everything they can to justify securing those buildings and doing everything that they're doing so that they can finish the job. And I really truly think that's what's going on in our nation right now. I really think that's what's going on. And survive anything, I agree. It used to equate that. It used to mean something. I think part of this has to do with population, honestly. Because it used to be, right, when there wasn't such a large population, that it was more likely that, an elected leader might run into a constituent at the grocery store or wherever, just in everyday life. Well, now, these days, many of these politicians are isolated from that. Many of these politicians don't even do their own grocery shopping anymore. So they're isolated from that. And the moment that you isolate people from that, they just will automatically start forgetting what it's like to have to face those people day in and day out. I'm not talking about in a secured building, in an office. I'm not talking about facing your constituents in a controlled environment. That's a whole different ball of wax. I'm talking about at the grocery store, at the bowling alley. That's what I'm talking about. When you have to look those constituents in the eye at an everyday place doing an everyday thing, it changes the game a little bit. And largely our politicians are isolated from that now. And I don't think that's any just by chance. I think that that's been done. I think that's been encouraged by other politicians over time. I think it's been encouraged to have a better than thou attitude. And I think it's been encouraged to remove themselves from those everyday activities where they would likely run into people just out on the street every day. You just don't see that anymore. You don't. The only time you see politicians out on the street is when they're vying for your vote. And that's it. That's it. Other than that, they stay hidden away, doing whatever. You don't see them a whole lot. You just don't. And if you do, it's likely going to be a local politician. It's not going to be anybody in any larger government, like even your state representatives. Sure, you might, your local government, like your mayors and stuff like that. Yeah, you run into those. Your council people, you run into those. That's different. That's different. Here, I can speak to here. This kind of was an issue back in the spring because we had a governor that was putting in these lockdown measures and all this stuff. And our mayor, which a wonderful man, absolutely wonderful man, I do believe that there's been a level of corruption in this town for a little while, but it's not quite as bad as a lot of places. But when those recommendations or guidelines or whatever it is you want to call them came down, I think he was trying to follow them, and he just received an absolutely insane amount of pushback. And even he, I noticed, pretty quick like he backed off. And, that is a perfect example of what I mean by when these politicians had to see their constituents every day face to face. There was a lot more accountability involved then. We don't see that in the upper echelon. We just don't. In fact, I would say even your county seats probably have a lot less interaction with their constituents than what they used to. But definitely state and federal, much, much less interaction. Look at Durbin. And yeah, I'm in Illinois, so I can only kind of speak here, but look at Durbin, the change that he's made. I mean, that guy went from actually at one time being a really decent man to being Hitler-like. I mean, seriously, that guy is out of control. Absolutely out of control. And I think largely the reason why is because he hasn't had to integrate with his base very much, because now he lives a lifestyle in which he doesn't have to. One of the worst things you can do for a company is bring outside people in to manage it. One of the worst things you can do for your company. Because when you have, and it's for several reasons. One reason is simply your employees are going to despise it. They are, because you've got employees that's worked there for umpteen amount of years and all that stuff that should, by all rights, deserve that higher position. But yet it was given to somebody, not even from the company or from the area. They brought in, right? And then they come in and they run the place like it's a dictatorship. And back to my comments earlier about having that boss that has no idea what the hell, your job really entails, or about the particular equipment you work on, or whatever the case may be. And then, here they want to run in and run roughshod on the place when they know nothing about the place. It causes a lot of problems from just about every single angle. Well, the same thing is happening in politics with our politicians. It's insane. It's insane. I think that's one area that we need to work on. But man, getting to that point from where we are, gonna be rough. We're in a bad spot. As far as just domestically within our nation, our own politics and whatnot, we're in a really bad spot. And there is not going to be a one person saves the day kind of thing. In other words, what I'm saying is, whoever's elected president, that one person in and of themselves are not going to save the day. And this country's not designed for that. This country is not in any way designed for that. The people that matter is Congress. That's what matters. And our Congress is so corrupt and out of line, there's no way that a president, even with good intent, would have a chance. And I think we've seen that. And I agree right there again, survive anything. I agree completely with that. It's going to take a collapse and a rebuild. But how ugly is that? That's ugly. That's really ugly. And the reason why, it's obvious on the surface, but even when you start to go digging into it a little bit, you have people right now with an incredible amount of power, with an incredible lack of morality. And they won't think twice about shutting those lights off on you. And when I say lights, I mean all your electricity. They won't think twice about it. The words that Biden and many others have said are haunting me over and over in my mind about this dark winter. Man, that's haunting me like you would not believe. Because I do think that they're going to make a clampdown. And I do think that it is within their scope and already within their plans to turn the grid off. If we in any way rebel against their wishes, which I think is largely going to involve the abolishing of the Second Amendment, I think that's going to be their plan, to turn out the lights. That is not good. And I have sat here now for weeks. I mean, I've done it for over 10 years, but the last few weeks have been pretty intense on my social media and stuff like that, trying to get people to start storing food. And largely they won't listen. They just pass it off. Right? But they'll go on and on and on and on about their guns and ammo. But I cannot get it through their thick skulls that it doesn't matter how many guns and how much ammo you have if all they have to do is wait 2 or 3 weeks until the food runs out in your pantry and you're done. It is literally such a basic, simple logic. I don't know. I don't get it. I do not get how they don't understand that. It's just literally foreign to me when you explain it like that and they don't grasp it. And it makes no sense. And then there's the other end of things that I try to explain to people that, that AR-15, not going to do real well against that drone at 10,000 feet. And even if it does, even if you do take one or two out, what about that LRAD system? When you go to storm the castle and they turn that LRAD up, because believe me, it's never been turned up in this country yet. Why do I know that? Well, because we haven't had widespread reports of blown out eardrums. That's why. And I guarantee you that if you have your eardrums blown out, you're not going to be much in the mood for fighting. They know this. That's why they created it. I mean, you lose your balance, you lose, good chance you're going to lose consciousness. You could literally lose your life as a result of those LRAD weapons. But at the very least, your eardrums go, you're literally going to hit the ground because you lose your balance. You could very likely lose consciousness. And I guarantee you are not going to want to fight. Guaranteed. Not going to want to fight. So, we need to think about this stuff. Like now, before we go storm the castle. We got to think about this stuff. This is not, the warfare that is going on against the American people is not a conventional war, and it hasn't been, and it won't be. It won't be. A lot of it's already been a psychological warfare. It's been an information warfare. It's been literally medical warfare. Warfare with our foods. And I'm not joking. I'm not, this ain't no conspiracy-minded crazy talk. Literally, you look up, there's plenty of data out there to confirm it, but you look up the different things like GMOs and stuff like that they're doing to our foods and the psychological effects that it is having on us, not to even bring up fluoride. And we have been assaulted by big pharma, by the food industry, by the media industry. We have been assaulted on every front for decades. That's why we have a society that you see today. It's a result of that assault, that ongoing assault. And I'm firmly in the belief that they are trying to tie up the loose ends of that assault right now. And I firmly believe that this vaccine is part of it. I have no doubt. I have no doubt. So we really need to be very mindful of where we stand. We need to be very mindful of what our capabilities are and what they aren't, because as I've said a million times, it's not what you know that will kill you, it's what you don't know that will kill you. So you need to start searching for those things that you don't know, which can be a little hard to do. It's almost like playing darts blindfolded sometimes. But the most important thing in all of this is the ability to sustain yourself. Because that is going to be your best bet. And when you are lucky enough and let me use those words carefully, when you are lucky enough to be able to make the choice of whether to fight or not, sometimes it's best to make that choice to not. And I think that the American people are going to have a hell of a lot of those moments in the very, very near future, to where it's best not to fight. Now, am I saying give in? Absolutely not. No, there isn't. It's not a light switch. It's not just off or on. It's not just either fight or don't fight. There's this whole logic of living to fight another day. That's why I'm telling people to, leave these capitals alone, whether it be state capitals or the capital in D.C., leave them alone for this inauguration. Leave them alone. There'd been talk, and I don't think it was a whole lot of talk, and I think it's probably simmered down regardless of what the government wants you to think, and the media, of course. But, I do think that there was probably some talk in the beginning of, we got to do something about this inauguration, yada, yada, yada. Well, that would be an idiotic thing to do. That would be an idiotic thing to do. Why? Because you just literally walked into probably one of the worst situations when it comes to combat ever. Probably worse than the Alamo. Way worse than the Alamo. So we need to use our heads. As I said, this is a different type of a warfare against us Americans, and we have to respect that for what it is, and we have to understand that we have to change up our techniques if we want to reply. So I know that the AR-15s and the plate carriers and all that stuff, I know it's really super sexy stuff. I get it. And it's cool, and it makes great Facebook pictures and all that good stuff. I get that. But you know what doesn't make good Facebook pictures? Dead bodies. They don't make real good Facebook pictures unless you're into that kind of sick stuff. But we have to change up our response. It's much more technological now. And one of the largest things I think that they are going to use against us is going to be the lack of our ability to sustain ourselves. So that's why it's so important to have food stored, have a way to filter, clean your water, have a water source. You have to have these things to be able to sustain yourself, because if you go into this headstrong, you do not stand a chance. Because they have been waiting for this. They have been preparing for this. They have been planning this. They have been orchestrating this. It's check. They're ready for a checkmate. But they've got a king. I never played chess. They've got a king or whatever that we don't even know about that's ready to win that game. But they need us to make that move. So what we need to do is not make that move. Not that move. We need to make a move, but not that move. Okay, we need to make a different move. We need to bring in our own king, speaking in chess terms, that they are unaware of. And that is most likely going to be in the form of pawns that they never expect. Okay, and I'll leave that at that. But there's a lot of wisdom in what I just said. And I would tell people that it is insanely important to read and understand the art of war. But it's likely more important to study and read how to counter the art of war. See, when you learn martial arts, if you want to be really effective against threats, you not only learn the form that you initially go to learn, but you also learn the opposing form. Because once you understand those two, that is when you become a force to be reckoned with. Okay? And that's essentially, if you really want to set up an enemy to lose, you get them convinced that they need to fight one way so that you can walk them into a trap. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what our government is doing to us right now. So flip the script. Flip the script. But that's all I'm going to say on that. That's all I'm going to say on that. I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just telling you strategy, that's all. So let me run through the normal stuff, get to headlines. I didn't even plan to be yakking this long. What the heck is with this anymore? Right? It used to be my monologues. They were like, bing, 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 gone. Right? Yeah, I can't shut up now. Maybe it's just because of everything going on. I am drinking coffee, and I'm going to have a sip. Take a look here at my mobile device. Okay. I had some news stories come in from the local news station, but it's just kind of local stuff, car accident and whatnot. So, let's see. And I think the battery died on my watch. Maybe, because it's not going crazy. Hang on. Must fix that. Come on. There we go. Fixed. Alright. Let me run through the normal stuff. We'll get to some headlines and we'll get out of here so that we can live to bitch another day. How's that sound? Let's see. Got all kinds of bings and bongs going on. Let's see. Okay. Now if I can find the right screen. Here we go. Alright, let me try to run through the normal stuff. I'm not going to try to get through it like I did yesterday because I just don't have the energy for that. That was amazing. That was a record of mine. It's actually kind of funny. So anyway, Amazon affiliate, we are up to $12.47. I thank those that participate. For those that don't know, there's a link in the description of the videos as well as at thewatchmannews.com in the top right corner. Click that link. It just takes you to Amazon, but it does so with our own special link. And when you make purchases, those items don't cost you anything more, but it gives us a commission. It throws us a little bit for the sale. All those little bits add up at the end of the month, as you see, and it helps. It does. It truly helps. Then sometimes it goes towards things to review. Sometimes it goes towards prepper type of things, whatever the case may be. Hey, sometimes we paid some of our cost because we do have cost with what we do with the Watchman News. We've got, the web hosting cost and the domain cost and, so it helps and we appreciate it. We've got a Teespring store. Best way to see what we have there is go to thewatchmannews.com because, come on, you can't really search anything on Teespring. That's why I did it like this. And just go to the home page. Scroll down on the home page. Right now we have 5 designs. Yes, 5. I've been saying 4 for like way too long. We've got 5 different designs now. And if you see a design you like, it's more than just t-shirts. There's coffee mugs, there's tote bags, there's all kinds of crazy stuff. So if you see a design you like, click on the image. That'll take you to Teespring with all the other products with that image, and you can make your purchase there. Also, lastly, we have a PayPal donate link. That's in the description of the videos as well as at thewatchmannews.com right there. When you click that, it just takes you to our PayPal donation page. You don't have to have a PayPal account. You can do so as a guest with a debit or a credit. But I always let people know it says Transforming Disabilities up top. It also says Purpose the Watchman News donation. That way you know you're in the right place. Because a lot of people like, Transforming Disabilities, what the hell is that? Well, that's what the PayPal account is. That's what that is. So, all right. That's done. Look at these numbers. COVID right now, they're saying fatal cases is, well, let me refresh to see if they change it because it's all janky. No, it stayed. 1,735 is what they are saying currently for fatal cases for this day. And yesterday they're saying 179,062 new cases. And fatal cases yesterday, they're showing 1,957. So, and those numbers will go all over the place because they're magic. Here locally, we have 1,797. That's total confirmed, not fatal, thank goodness, because our town's just under 10,000 people. Yeah, that would be ugly. And so that's total confirmed for our particular zip code. So, all right. Headlines. After a sip of coffee and a vape. Man. Yeah, it's my third pot of coffee today. So. Can't sleep. I mean, I just can't sleep. And it's largely due to pain. I've been in an immense amount of pain. I deal with a lot of joint pain, and without a joint, I can't do nothing about the pain. So, it's supposed to be funny, haha. But yeah, I deal with a lot of joint pain, and it's hard for me to really get comfortable. And I don't know if I toss and turn all night, but I suspect I probably do a lot of that. And no, I just can't. And then I'm up. Like this morning, I got up about 4 to go to the bathroom. I think I laid back down. I think I might have fell back asleep for maybe about 20, 30 minutes. And I was right back up. And it's like, not even 5 o'clock, getting out of bed, going ahead and coming in here, firing up the computer, starting coffee. And, I just want to sleep. I just really want to sleep. I could use a good sleep. I had another nap today. It was kind of a short one. Because I can't make it through the day. I just can't. And so I laid down for a little bit, and when I say a little bit, that's largely because it's the futon, and I get a very angry dog very quick that kicks me off her futon, and not even allowed to lay on the futon. So anyway, then that usually means I get up, and that's when I usually fix the second pot of coffee. And now I normally don't take a nap, but the last 2 days, yeah, I have. All right, a couple vapes and we'll get this show going here. One thing, there isn't a whole lot of headlines today, and the headlines that we have gotten were largely throughout the earlier part of the day. It has been really quiet this evening when it comes to news and headlines. I don't like that. I do not like that. Especially being, early into the week, especially with everything that's about to go on. I don't like quiet. I don't necessarily believe no news is good news. So, some things in life, yeah, that's a very true statement. Not when it comes to this type of stuff. All right. Starting with the headline from last night, Twitter suspends GOP Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene for multiple violations after she alleges Georgia elections were stolen. Also last night, FBI vetting guard troops in D.C. amid fears of insider attack. This is getting ridiculous. And I firmly believe they're just trying to ratchet up the fear. All right, now we're from headlines from today. Negative COVID-19 test to become mandatory for Slovakians to go to work and visit the countryside. What happens if you work in the countryside? I don't know. California halts injections of Moderna COVID vaccine batch due to higher than usual number of adverse events. I would say pretty much the whole operation has had a higher than usual adverse events. Samsung chief receives reduced 30-month jail term over corruption scandal. China becomes only major economy to record growth during the pandemic. Britain is immunizing. Okay, you say the word, right? I know that's not right. Immunizing. That's not right. At least it don't sound right in my head. 140 people per minute against COVID-19, but vaccine production is lumpy, the minister says. No. Lumpy was from an old TV show. I remember that. In bid to kickstart local economy, Russian region to introduce anti-COVID passports for residents vaccinated against the coronavirus. Never heard of nothing like that before. Yeah, right. I firmly believe that we're going to have a full-on vaccination ID system set in place and all. I think it's not going to be pretty. Beijing to sanction U.S. officials over Taiwan and claims Trump government burning bridges and creating obstacles for the new administration. Russia keeps global grain supplies high despite the COVID crisis. And, I mean, if there's one job that I would expect could be done during all this pandemic stuff would be farming. Because the last I knew, you don't put 50 people in a combine. Just saying. Russian snipers train for frosty fights in minus 35 degrees amid wider plans to increase the Arctic warfare capabilities. And we're seeing a lot of this ratchet up, not just with Russia, but the United States. Dang it. United States as well. Pardon me, I'm sorry. I am like wore out. Let's see. I think that there's a high possibility that if conflict starts, that it's at least going to start up there and stay up there for a bit. And I have a feeling that this is not by chance. I think that Russia is largely doing this to try to keep the war away from the populations. Because I think Russia and China and many other nations smell war. I really do. And I think they're trying to do everything they can to limit civilian losses. We'll see. Praying mantis. China mocks Secretary of State Mike Pompeo over latest U.S. sanctions. And if you don't understand that, it's because the male praying mantis, when he does get the opportunity to have sex with the female, she subsequently kills him and rips his head off. So, yeah, that's the joke behind that. Iran producing half a kilo of 20% enriched uranium every day without technical problems, says country's atomic energy boss. Yeah, there's nothing like shoving it in the United States' face that they're ramping up production of uranium. A woman who suffered convulsions after taking Pfizer COVID jab being screened for permanent neurological damage, her son tells RT. Now, this is an interesting case because pro-vaccine individuals have been doing everything they can to try to discredit this case. And they simply can't. And it's not the only case. There's many, many, many more of these cases, unfortunately. Many more of these cases. We just got to hear about this one and viral video came out on it and whatnot. There's a lot more of this. Mysterious dark matter ghost particle may have finally been detected, ending the decades-long search. A world on the brink of catastrophic moral failure as equitable distribution of COVID-19 vaccines at serious risk, says the WHO chief. I think the distribution of those vaccines are a catastrophic moral failure, but hey, potato, potato. New COVID-19 variant detected in Germany during outbreak at clinic in Bavaria. Beijing urges U.S. to stop baseless crackdown on its firms after Trump after Trump reportedly tightened supplies to Huawei. What the heck? Saw flashing lights in the security cameras, so I was just looking. I think it was just a turn signal or something. NHS National Medical Director warns falling COVID-19 infections won't reduce severe pressure on hospitals for several weeks. Hacked emails allegedly detail how EU drug regulator was pressured to approve Pfizer jab despite problems with the vaccine. Navalny arrest being used as a tool to distract from crisis in the West, says Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov. And really, are we? I mean, I don't watch mainstream news, so I can't answer that question. Are we? I haven't saw it. I really haven't saw it. Now, I've posted a ton of articles from RT, Russia Today, about this, but Western media, I don't know. I don't watch the mainstream stuff. Are they going stupid about Navalny? I haven't seen it. And, you know, it's not like I don't take in any U.S. mainstream news, but I don't watch mainstream news on TV or anything like that. So, are they? I don't think so. I think we've been pretty fixated on this inauguration and election stuff. Minister fears COVID infections in BAME community amid reluctance to take vaccine. Now, this bothers me. And why it bothers me, and I haven't spoke out about it before, but I'm going to now. And BAME basically it's abbreviated. It's saying the minority groups, okay? Whether it's I don't remember Black, Asian, minority ethnicities or I don't know, something to that effect. It's the minority groups is what that stands for. And that's concerning to me because it almost looks like they're targeting these groups with that vaccine. Things that make you go, Alexei Navalny remanded in custody for 30 days after unexpected hearing in police station 1 day after arriving back in Russia. Again, that's from Russia Today, not U.S. News. Abnormal situation. Japan's foreign minister critical after Seoul court orders payouts for 12 comfort women. And yeah, that is what it sounds like. Pushing wrong buttons, Russian youth having less sex and fewer children because of smartphones and other tech, says demographic expert. Good news, Russian male brides are up 20... I'm kidding. Historic mass vaccination campaign kicks off in coronavirus-battered Brazil. Scottish shellfish lorry drivers stage Brexit protests outside of Downing Street. Sinovac says COVID-19 vaccine efficacy improves 20% if dosing interval upped by 7 days. Russia plans earliest ever shipment of Arctic LNG to Asia. Mystery of why some people hear the dead unraveled by a new study. I shared that because I thought the headline was kind of perplexing. So that's a study over there in the UK. Think what you will on it. I mean, I'm a skeptic myself. I'll be honest, I'm a skeptic. American supporters of Donald Trump expressing growing interest in obtaining Russian passports, says the foreign ministry. This is not surprising to me. And, I've even entertained the thought for many years. Not necessarily Russia, but that was definitely a thought. But getting out of this country? Oh, hell yeah. But see, in this land of freedom, in this beacon of freedom, I can't even get a passport. So there is that, right? I'm in such a free country that I can't leave. Ain't that bullshit? I think it's bullshit. Who else to blame? Capitol Hill rioters stole Nancy Pelosi's laptop for the Russians, an ex-partner claims. Yeah, and there's really all there is this claim. There is no evidence to support said claim. So, and in fact, I'd venture to say that there's not a whole hell of a lot of evidence that she's even got the thing, meaning the laptop and or hard drive, right? Hell, they don't even know what it is that this woman's got, whether it's a laptop or hard drive. Yeah, there's a lot of games going on with this. UK health experts extremely concerned about COVID vaccine rollout in Wales as First Minister defends holding back supplies. Vancouver official provokes Canadian meltdown after launching Twitter tirade against violent petro-masculine pickup truck. Man, I don't know. We've got to put a stop to these violent petro-masculine pickup trucks. Really? I mean, oh gosh. Global COVID-19 deaths to top 100,000 a week very soon, the WHO warns. This came out yesterday. It was a FCC enforcement advisory. So it's basically reminding everybody that the use of amateur radio, and that includes the what do they call it? The family radio services, the personal radio services, what they're saying. So basically, your amateur radio bands, as well as your FRS and GMRS, all of that, right? That it is illegal to use that equipment to commit or facilitate criminal acts. So you remember that when you're doing your looting and pillaging. Do not use any type of ham frequency or, personal radio service when doing your looting and pillaging, because that is a crime. Wait a minute. Wasn't the looting and pillaging a crime too? Huh. It's getting so confusing. I don't know. Hard to keep track. I'll leave it up to our government. New Japanese PM hints at end to dispute with Russia over Kuril Islands that kept the two countries technically at war since 1945. Heathrow no longer Europe's busiest airport as pandemic cripples travel demand. U.S. Capitol on lockdown over external security threat. Video shows smoke coming out of the building. That's what I was talking about earlier. And right here, inauguration rehearsal evacuated after fire in a homeless camp. So, and again, I don't think this is by chance. I think that they were clearing the camp. Germany considers extended lockdown as new COVID-19 variants emerge. A Merkel spokesman warns of risk of mutation. Is Merkel going to mutate or the virus? I don't know. Tough call. Top Iranian commander mocks Washington as U.S. armed forces on alert for American attackers during the Biden inauguration. Indian TV anchor's text sparks cries for security leak inquiry after he discussed Pakistan airstrikes before they happen. Probably not a good idea there, Skippy. Canada to allow the return of Boeing 737 MAX service by lifting flight ban imposed after devastating crashes. Let's see, China's Hebei province, and I don't know how that's pronounced, to re-examine COVID-19 test results after lab caught out over positive cases. And I really have no idea what the hell they're saying there when they say caught out over positive cases, but I'll let you guess. Most ancient supermassive black hole. What? Article about my ex-wife? No, kidding. Most ancient supermassive black hole ever discovered powers distant quasar and sheds light on early universe. Which she said. Reports blame men firing artillery shells as 1 dead and 12 buried under snow after killer avalanche at Russian winter resort. Deepest concern, South Africa COVID-19 variant binds more easily to human cells, making it more infectious, a government advisor says. Ukrainian Railways records losses of up to $500 million after Moscow-Kiev train connection is closed due to COVID-19. White male Trump voting troops may betray Biden at the inauguration, Democrat congressman suggests, in prediction even CNN finds crazy. So if CNN's finding it crazy, dude, you are out there. But you notice it's white male conservatives. White male conservatives. And we've heard about this nonstop over the last several years about how white male conservatives are the biggest threat to our country and blah, blah, blah. And it's not going to stop. This is that they have to they have to destroy they have to destroy basically the family, the what they used to call the nuclear family in the United States, and they have to demonize men. They have to demonize men, and they've largely done that. I mean that agenda's been done for a while, because that's the quickest way to weaken the nation. You break up the families, and you just absolutely run the men under the ground, and that's how you're going to destroy the quickest way to destroy a country. A former data scientist and coronavirus crusader, Rebecca Jones, charged with computer misuse after turning herself into Florida police. Yeah, I did read this article. I looked into this a little bit, and this woman seems like a real winner, I'm telling you. Yeah, she's trying to claim victim in all this, and yeah, she clearly screwed up. And not just once, but time and time again. And each time she screwed up, it's like she challenged herself to screw up bigger the next time. And she, again, multiple screw-ups, and these aren't accidents. These are purposeful things that she had did, and now she's the victim. Yeah. Where have I heard them kind of stories before? Oh, that's right. Family court. That's right. Guatemala police start clearing U.S.-bound migrant caravan camp after violent clashes. This is insane, and this hits way too close to home for me. Parents shocked as armed cops show up at their homes to talk about the kids' grades. Yeah, and I don't care that they're resource officers. That is not even relevant. Not even relevant that they're school resource officers. Sorry, they're not educators. They're not teachers. They have no damned business showing up at people's homes talking to them about their grades. Nope. In fact, I've got an issue with them showing up about truancy. But we can even give them a little leeway with that. Man, if these kids need talking to about their grades, then why can't a teacher do it? Why can't an educator do it? Why can't a counselor, a school counselor do it? Why are we having armed police do it? There's apparently quite a bit of adverse reaction about this incident happening. This is St. Louis County, Missouri. This is like right across the river from us. So, right now, I think, schools or something like that. I can't remember the name exactly. I could be wrong. Don't hold me to that. But absolute insanity. A global pandemic alert system not fit for purpose. WHO report of critical China's and its own response to COVID crisis. So it doesn't look like they're giving China an easy pass on this, and I'm going to be real honest. That was my concern. My concern was that they were going to cover up a lot, and I'm not saying that they're not, but I thought that they were going to give China like a total pass on this. Now, the pass that I think that they are going to give China on this, the undeserved pass, is exactly how this started and where it came from. You know, I think they're giving in that it started there in China. I think they're giving in. They're conceding to that, but I don't think you're going to see them concede to the idea that it came from a lab. I think this is getting whitewashed, and I think that's how they're whitewashing it, is by conceding to, okay, well, it came from Wuhan, you know, and then here's the bat story or what have you. Help is coming. Conservatives howl as COVID fight, touting Team Biden tells migrant caravans at the border to hang in some more. This is concerning to me, and not for the same reason it would be concerning to most people. This is concerning to me because I think a lot of the American people have had enough. I think a lot of the people had enough. And when Trump took office, as you recall, we had an insane amount of migrants that was heading here. And Trump, man, he pulled no punches in dealing with that issue. And it wound up turning a lot of them back. It really did. Well, not necessarily us even having to, because he put the pressure on other countries to turn them back before they even made it this far. Well, that's over. That's over. There were a lot of very, very upset people over that whole debacle when it was going on. A lot. What do you think is going to happen with those same upset people when Biden opens up the gates? I don't think that's going to be a good thing. I don't. We'll see what happens. I don't think that's going to go well for nobody. A Capitol Hill Supermax make D.C. security fence permanent. Democrat congressman pleads in a bill. FBI investigates, and that's what I was talking about earlier. FBI investigates tip that a woman possibly stole a laptop from Pelosi's office to potentially sell it to Russia. And we kind of talked about that a little bit earlier. But this is the actual article that if you read it, it's kind of like it really opens your eyes to the fact that it's almost like they're completely making it up. They can't even define whether it was a laptop or a hard drive. There's no evidence to support that this woman was going to sell it to the Russians. Nothing. None of that. There's no evidence of whether she's got the laptop or destroyed it or got rid of it or nothing. There's a bunch of nothing. But by golly, she did it. Pentagon chief says no intel on insider threat from 25,000 National Guard troops as military and FBI vet inauguration security detail. Could you imagine? And I bet a lot of this vetting involved them going through social media accounts and stuff like that. I would imagine emails, social media accounts, any type of digital interaction of any kind with these troops. And that's insane. That is insane. But I think a lot of this is purposely getting way blown out of proportion, because that way they can ramp up that fear, and that's what they want. They want you to live in fear, because as long as you're living in fear, they can get away with doing their crap. Senator Hawley finds a new publisher after being blacklisted over Capitol riot, and his old publisher will have to distribute it. It's a big middle finger, isn't it? Yeah, I found that very, very interesting. And here I did this show, right? And I don't know if you can see this or not. No, you can't. But that is the last headline. Throughout this show, I usually always have one or two or more headlines that pop up during the course of the show. And then I mention those. I tell them at the end of the show if they're applicable to what we do. Of course, I don't do entertainment or sports or anything like that. Nothing. And it's concerning. Seriously. The lack of news coming out is bothersome. I must say that. Keep your eyes open, heads on a swivel. Continue to prep. I say that, and if you got something you need, you might head to a store. Like tonight. If you've got something. What? If you've got something that you desperately need or think you may desperately need, yeah, you might want to get on it. So, anyway, I am going to get out of here. Crazy days ahead, and I am concerned. I am concerned. Just do what you can. Do what you can. Remember, the most important part is being able to sustain yourself. That's a fact. So, anyway, I hope everybody has a decent night. God willing, we'll see you tomorrow. I appreciate you coming. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.